there, guys. This is Alrighty with Good Guys Gear. It's a rainy, lousy day out, and so that's why I'm bundled up in the middle of the spring. But anyway, today we're going to talk about why 9mm actually sucks. Right now, it's really popular, mostly because of recoil. I think, the FBI's picked it and stuff. But anyhow, to background all this a little bit, back when I got my Glock 22, which was the first pistol that I bought, 40 was all the rage, 9 was out, and everybody talked about how 40 had the same kinetic energy as 45 with the speed of 9mm, and you could fit more rounds in a 45 and all this. But as time has gone on, 40 has fallen off as far as popularity. And both me and Kickstand experienced a lot when we were going into gun stores looking into getting our CZs. We would go in and say, hey, I'm looking for a CZ75 and 40. What would that run with you guys? And the guy behind the counter would, as a rule, give us a, ooh, yeah, are you sure you want it in 40 with all that recoil and blah, 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 yada, yada, on and on. Same story. Everywhere we went, they talked about capacity, about recoil, and they kept mentioning this FBI test that was done relatively recently that compared 9mm to 40 and 45, and how the FBI had gone back to 9mm. But there's only one number from that test that was ever mentioned, and that was that 40 and 45, when using a comparable hollow point load, only expand 0.2 of an inch more than the 9mm version. And they play off that number all the time, 0.2 of an inch. Well, it doesn't sound like 0.2 of an inch. That's almost nothing at all. If they said it to you another way, it might strike you differently. For instance, if they were to say 40 and 45 only make a hole 30% larger than 9mm. 30%. Now that's a number. That really gives you an idea of size. 0.2 of an inch could mean anything. 30% really means something. So, in diameter, 40 and 45 make 30% larger of a hole across. Now, that doesn't actually even tell the whole story, because you'll find this same research, or this same, mathematical process, or whatever you want to call it, if you compare 556 to 308, if you look at the actual surface area of the expanded 40 or 45 versus the 9mm, you'll find that there is actually 80% more surface area in the mushroom 40 or 45. So, when you're talking about how much damage you do with a round, to get the same wound cavity in 9mm, you would have to have an 18 round 9mm to match a 10 round 40. So you're going to have to get 18 rounds off in the time I get 10. Now everybody says you can shoot a 9mm so much faster than you can shoot a 40 and be on target, but can you shoot it nearly twice as fast? That's what this video is about. So first, you can see a target set up here behind me. All of those numbers are based on law enforcement averages, how many shots they fire, how many times they miss, and so on. But since we're civilians, and we're predominantly talking to civilians, we looked up the averages for civilian lawful self-defense. And the average is 1 to 5 yards in range and 2 shots. That's all they have time to get off. In the studies that I looked at, people who averaged way higher than that as far as a round count were simply draining their mag. They weren't even necessarily shooting at anything anymore. They were just squeezing the trigger because they were afraid. But the average is 2 shots. So first, I'm going to take, from a ready position, 2 shots as quickly as I can with the CZ75B in 40. I'm not going to include the draw or anything like that because that's far too that's far too subjective. How you carry a gun, how slick you are, all of that. I'm just going to give you the trigger time aspect of it. So I'm hot here, and Kickstand will give me a now when it's time to shoot.
Now.
That was two pretty quick shots. And they're both in the kill zone. One of them is very, very close, and the other is a little bit high. But as you can see on the silhouette, I think in the video, both solid shots, very quick. In that amount of time, 3 shots would have done a little bit less damage than I just did, and 4 would have done just a little bit more. So in that time, could you have shot 4 shots of 9mm? Probably not. But that's your average. This distance, 3 yard, 2 shots. So, continue on. Everybody talks about capacity. 9mm holds so many more rounds. And they talk about how many rounds police officers shoot when they engage. So, and they always talk about, you know, I don't know, everybody has a thing about a 350-pound meth head that you just can't put down. And you have to shoot him over and over again. So, Kickstand is going to run a timer for you, hopefully where you can see it. He's going to give me a now when he starts the timer, and I'm going to run the 10 remaining shots that I have in this magazine as fast as I possibly can, and he's going to stop the timer when I lock back. And we will then have an idea how long it takes for a relatively poor shot to place 10 rounds of 40 on target. Alrighty, so it took a minute to get everything situated, get our stopwatch out and stuff. Kickstand's going to give me a now when it's time to start shooting, and you should be able to see the stopwatch on screen.
Now.
Alrighty, so how much time do we have there?
4.1.
4.1 seconds. So you're looking at about 2.5 shots per second. So that would be
Right about 4.
180 rounds a minute.
Oh.
Is that correct?
Yeah.
So then to equal that with a 9, you'd need to shoot I'm sorry guys, I'm slow with math. It's late in the day. I've been driving my dump truck all day and stuff. You're quicker at math than me.
Tell me the numbers again.
That was 10 in 4 seconds. You'd need to shoot 18 in 4 seconds.
I don't know, man. You
Yeah.
can't do it. You know, you can't move your finger that fast.
Well, somebody can.
Well,
Jerry Mikulik.
Yeah, maybe Jerry Mikulik.
So anyway, 10 rounds, 4 seconds. Let's look at that group. Had one flyer there, pretty low. But outside of that, I'm going to say that our 300-pound meth head is probably a goner.
Yeah.
And we'll refine our math here in just a moment and get you a real number.
And that and that are that first group. So really, that's 9 shots right there.
Alrighty, so we had a little glitch there with our math. Unfortunately, we can't edit anything, so you know you're getting exactly what you see in front of you. But anyhow, with the help of a calculator, that would mean that you would need to shoot 270 rounds per minute out of a 9mm to equal what I just did with a 40, and I'm not that slick, which would mean roughly half of a fully automatic fire weapon. And there are not that many people out there who can do that. So as you can see, for our 350-pound meth head, in the amount of time that you might have available to you, you can get more rounds on target with a 40 at the average civilian self-defense distance. And on top of that, most people who ever use their weapon in self-defense as a civilian actually only get to shoot 2 shots. So when it really comes down to it, do you want to shoot 2 shots of 40 or 45? Or do you want to do half as much damage with 2 shots of 9? I know what the FBI says, I know what law enforcement is going to, and I know what everybody says about recoil, but that's a good enough group with a 40. And like I said, I'm not that hot, which is actually something that we'll be addressing in later videos. You know, we did our 40 in our other Makarov video, and they didn't turn out to be what we hoped they would. So, for our own benefit and yours, we're going to do a number of pistol accuracy drills to increase our own skill and share all of that with you so that we can actually be as slick as we'd like to think we are. But anyhow, that's it, guys. This kind of goes with the whole go big or go home pistol video. If you watch that, buy a big gun that shoots a big bullet, because when it really comes down to it, you're not going to drain 18 rounds into somebody in a self-defense situation when people shoot 2 rounds from 3 yards, and that is just how it is, and we'd rather have bigger rounds. But anyhow, good guys gear, shooting out in the cold and the rain. Hope this did something for you if you're trying to decide what gun you want to buy. But anyway, subscribe, share, comment, tell us what you think, and we'll be back next week with some more of our wonderfully edifying content.